Hey y'all, welcome back. Lova's Crafts here, and here's another voice over for this video. I've tried to do this a couple of times, but I think a voiceover is best. This will be my birth story. This is something I promised you guys a while ago, and I figured I'd get it all out there. So sit back, definitely enjoy this whip and chat, work on something, or just sit back and listen. But yeah, so first things first, I did go into labor on July 1st. I was actually supposed to be induced that day. That didn't necessarily happen. I had called at the designated time and they said that there was no room to be induced. I was already 40 weeks and 6 days. They didn't really want me going past 41 weeks only because I guess my placenta was starting to, not do what it needed to do. I had an anterior placenta, which means that it was in the front part of my womb, not in the back. So it obviously made it harder for me to feel my son, to, when they would do like ultrasounds or try to find the heartbeat, it would be a little more, it would be harder for them to do so. But anywho, if you guys do hear in the background, my son is with me. Anywho, so on July 1st, though, going towards that night, I was walking. My mom and my mother-in-law were helping me walk up and down the driveway to try to help me kind of kickstart labor naturally. I was completely fed up at that point because I was like, okay, like this is getting harder. I definitely felt a little anxious because I kind of knew that it was approaching the holiday, which is something where, like, my own thing, I didn't want my son sharing a birthday, let alone a federal holiday. I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's just who I am. So it was almost like 11 o'clock when I started to feel like real contractions that came pretty quickly apart. I started feeling them, like around 10 or 11. They were 9 minutes apart. That quickly grew to 5 minutes apart. That quickly grew to 2 minutes apart. So my husband and I drove to the hospital. We called them ahead of time. They were still trying to say that there was no room, but obviously, like, we were coming anyway because I was also starting to bleed, which was a little off for me because I wasn't anticipating that. But once we got to the hospital, we did go through the emergency room before we went up to labor and delivery. My water did break in the original room that they put me in labor and delivery. They kind of put me in like a spare room so they can quickly move the one girl who I believe gave birth, cleaned up the room, and then moved her out. Now, obviously, my birth plan did not get executed the way that I anticipated it to. I really wanted to do this all natural, and I couldn't do it. The contractions were so bad, but it wasn't necessarily the contractions, it was the back pain that I was enduring. The back pain was indescribable, and I almost wonder if it's because I had an anterior placenta, because I was in a car accident when I was 18 that affected all of my nerves in my lower TL section of my spine, and then I obviously suffer with multiple sclerosis where it does affect my back, and the nerve endings in my nervous system, especially in my back area. So I did request epidural. Thank God for the anesthesiologist I had because she was absolutely wonderful. She walked me through it, and it was quick, easy, painless. I know a lot of people don't say epidural is painless. For me, it was flawless. I am so grateful for it. It literally helped me calm down because I was screaming in agony pain because of the back pain. Again, it's not like I feel like if I had a posterior placenta, I would have been able to go through with it naturally, but with this one, I did have an epidural. So we got into the room by like 11:50 something. Epidural was administered. I was able to sleep, which was nice. with the epidural, so by 7:30 in the morning on July 2nd, I was completely dilated. They had me start pushing then, but I believe that because the epidural was so strong that I couldn't feel where I was pushing, so they did have to administer Pitocin, which obviously I was against, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, that stuff is the absolute devil. Be weary when getting that, if that's something you are willing to do. But I was administered the Pitocin, and I did start pushing where I needed to be, although I did feel everything. I won't lie to you guys. The ring of fire is psychotic feeling. It was very euphoric, and I only was able to get through that after the doctor basically pulled a mirror out. The OB basically said, look at where like his head is. You are almost doing there. And that gave me the basically like all the energy to push my son out in one shot. So he was born on July 2nd. And it was very euphoric feeling. I feel like I felt like my whole life flashed before my eyes when I pushed for the last time. They did immediately put him on my chest. They did not wash him or anything of the vernix. My husband did cut the umbilical cord, which I love knowing that we have that little memory. He was a great coach as well. Like, my husband was so supportive. He was really like coaching me through it, and he's he's a football guy, so he was definitely encouraging, and I definitely would not have done it without him to get me to the point where, I was able to push my son out, let alone go through the entire labor process. My son did take immediately to breastfeeding, so we are on that level. He's feeding very well. He was 7 pounds, 11 ounces, and 20 inches long when he was born. And we were able to have our golden hour. My placenta came out almost immediately, and it wanted to by itself. I know a lot of women have an issue when it comes to that specific type of, like, some people have medical assistance when it comes to the placenta coming out, or they have they wait until it's ready to be pushed out. But mine came out almost immediately, like it wanted to come out. And mine was huge. I feel like now, looking back at all of my videos where I was complaining about like the weight that I was gaining, I was legitimately placenta and then baby. My placenta looked like a huge cow liver. I was very appalled with how it looked, to be completely honest with you. Labor and delivery gives you an option of what you want to do with it. I actually didn't take it. Everything in me wanted to have it, or like maybe plant a tree with it on my property, but I was like, what is the point of all that? So we told them to basically trash it, obviously. But after labor and delivery, we were put in our own, and I was in my own room throughout the entirety of the time I was in the hospital. We had our own room. The service was nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was really annoyed with the constant check-ins, but it was definitely an experience that maybe I would endure again. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of in between wanting another kid and never wanting to do this again. But I'm very grateful for my experience. I think it was very, to an extent, empowering, but very liberating as well. I'm very happy that I was able to go through my fertility journey the way that I did, and then end up with a beautiful baby boy who's growing very healthy, and definitely happy to experience motherhood. I'm doing well. Postpartum's a little bit fickle to definitely deal with, but I think that I will leave that for a different video. But I think that's all I have to say about my birth story. Let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comments. I will try to answer them as best as possible if I didn't cover it in this video. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.